Hello everybody, I am MrGamingGuitarist, and I'm here to review the Season 2 premiere of Legends of Tomorrow, and I really liked it a lot. I thought that it was, if I had to give you my ratings of all the CW DC season premieres, I would put Supergirl at number 1, this at number 2, Flash at 3, Arrow in last place. Of course, you know, we all have different opinions, and that's just mine. But anyways, I really liked it, and of course, there's going to be full spoilers, so if you have not watched Legends of Tomorrow Season 2 premiere, please watch it before watching this video, unless you want to get spoiled. So anyways, let's hop right into it, and let's dig into the episode. So it starts off with this new guy who I had no idea who he was before, and I thought it was a very interesting choice the way they opened up this episode. It's with them not showing us our legends at all. It's this guy named Dr. Nate Haywood, and at first I had no idea who he was, why the hell he was running, and it turns out he is a historian who knows a lot about our legends, and he talks and then it turns out he was at Oliver Queen's office this whole time. So he goes there to tell him that he thinks that Sarah and Ray are in danger. But I think it was kind of funny how Oliver and this guy, this historian, to make it easier on myself, I'm just going to call him either Nate or Haywood, whatever it says in my notes. Well, my back's really itchy. Oh, God. It's funny how Oliver just decides to hop on board and go with him to the Atlantic Ocean, and yet he's still the mayor and being the Green Arrow at the same time. Wouldn't anyone notice? Hey, how come Oliver's missing? Why isn't he here? Why did he just leave? Does anyone else know that he went to the Atlantic Ocean? I don't know, but hey, it's comic books, right? It's all confusing, fun shit, isn't it? So anyways, next up, and so they both go and they find the Wave Rider, and it's crashed in the Atlantic Ocean, sorry. And I keep wondering, why is it crashed in the Atlantic Ocean? Because I would have thought that the safe way to do it, to have this intro, would be if you'd picked up immediately where the season finale left off, where you had Our Man meeting them and say, if you go on that ship you die, and we never really got to see how that scene played out. But I really like this different approach to where we see each member of our legends one by one, and it's Mick telling the story of what happened. So we find Mick was in stasis, I believe, or like in a deep sleep or whatever the hell Rip put him in, and he wakes up and they are in the wreckage, and they're still in the wreckage, so Mick has to explain everything that happened. So he tells Oliver and Haywood about what they've been doing for the past 6 months, and it turns out they're in France in the 1600s. And I thought and I just loved this opening action sequence, because you see these assassins in there, and yet while everyone else is fighting Sarah is busy fucking the Queen of France. I thought that was good. Because it's funny, because, arguably, I would say Sarah's like the best, hand-to-hand combat fighter out of everyone, and that she's not doing that. She's busy fucking the Queen. So anyways, but then again, after that great sequence in France, we get to see Rip repeat his same old lines of saying you can't use your powers in the past because it will fuck up history, and same thing, same spiel we've heard before. But later on we find out that they feel this quake, like this shockwave, and it's from an atom bomb attack in New York in 1942. And then we find out about going into the library, and Sarah finds out that she's still trying to she wants revenge, and she wants to kill Damien Dark. And I'm recording, and I'm happy that Damien Dark is back. I'm glad we get to see them again, because while the final parts, the second half of him, he started to feel a bit too stereotypical in season 4 of Arrow, and he just started to feel a bit cheeseball. But in the beginning of season 4 of Arrow, I thought that he was great as Damien Dark, so I'm glad we get to see him again. But the one thing that we get to see is we find out from Ray and Martin, they find out that World War II ends in 1947, 2 years later. It kind of reminds me of Wolfenstein: The New Order, how you played a mission in 1946 in World War II and it didn't end yet. So next up, so we find out that, so I guess, now I don't know how real history works. I mean, because I'm stupid, and all I do is spend my time here talking to this camera about TV shows and movies and comics and video games, and that's, well, because that's what I like to do. But anyways, so I don't know if Albert Einstein actually is the one responsible for making the atom bomb, or if it's someone else that did it, or I don't know exactly what his contributions are. Smart people that know more than me tell me in the comments. But anyways, so they find out they have to capture Albert Einstein, so this seems like it would be quite the fun adventure. You have to kidnap Albert Einstein. So, and I thought it was really funny how when we do end up in 1942, Mick says, "Oh, we're at a nerd party." I just love that he still keeps the one-liners, and he's Heatwave always provides great comic relief. He never ceases to not make me laugh. Oh, wait, I said that wrong. He never ceases to make me laugh. Yeah, okay. So so then we find out that Sarah wants to go kill Dark, but and I'm glad that we actually get to see Ray actually shrinking again in the atom suit. It felt like they were trying to restrain using that, maybe because it was too expensive for the CG, I don't know, but I'm glad we at least get to see him use it, and I hope we get to see him use it regularly, because I mean, come on, that is who the atom is, that's what his power is supposed to be. But anyways, we see him shrink down, he goes, and I like how he holds on to the hood of the taxi, but then later on, him and Sarah have this talk saying, you can't do this because we have to save New York first, and and then she says, I really hate you sometimes, Ray. And Ray is right. I mean, it's like, I understand it's important for Sarah to get revenge on Dark for killing her sister, but that's more of an act of revenge, a thing to benefit yourself from, rather than something that actually is going to help save the world. So, priorities need to get straightened out. But anyway, so yeah. So, of course, she goes along with him. And then we find out that even though they kidnap Einstein, and I thought it was so great seeing Einstein at that party when he tries to get those two girls to follow him to the hotel room, and then we find out that in this time, and somehow now in this history, Einstein gets kidnapped. I mean, his wife dies, and then he has another wife that's divorced. So then we find out after he gets kidnapped and on the Wave Rider that his ex-wife actually helps develop the atom bomb. So then we get them try to stop this. They try to stop this atom bomb. So we go to the dock in New Jersey. Oh, but actually before this happens, we get this really good scene with Sarah and Ray arguing, where Sarah just tells Ray, "Oh, you think you're the good person, you think you're all this, but haven't you tried to fix haven't you tried to stop your fiance from dying in the past?" And then he says, "Yeah, but I don't act out on it because preserving history is more important." And then Sarah says, "Without that suit, you're nothing." And then he proves her wrong by saying, "Well, actually, I'm the one that found out that since they're next to uranium, you can actually trace them." And then, then you see Sarah like get the oh shit, well I got proven wrong face. But then we get this great action sequence at the dock where even though Rip tries to tell everyone to fall back because, you know, they keep getting defeated and, you know, Dark beats the shit out of Sarah and you know, Heatwave gets, or Mick, he gets shot and, you know, a bunch of other stuff that keeps happening. But, so anyway, they retreat. And one thing that happens is Rip tells Jax, you know, Jax was very, he hates doing the engineering work because he thinks that it's so rudimentary and he gets to miss out on all the fun of the time traveling and all that stuff. But he just tells him that, well, we need you here. I need to teach you about the Wave Rider and how the ship works because I might not be around any longer. And that makes me think, well, is he actually going to leave the show? We don't know. Well, it seems like we do get confirmation of that later on, which we'll get into that part later. But anyways, so he talks about, so we get we get Rip talking about the time scatter plan, and he says, I hope it's a thing I never have to use, but then eventually he does use it because I think that was the atom bomb that he lets hit the Wave Rider, and just before it explodes, he sends everyone to different times, and he wipes Mick's memory. And so, yeah, so that's what happened. And so then we find out, now we're all pretty much caught up, and so Oliver tells Haywood to join Mick because, of course, why else would he be on the show if he wouldn't be joining the team? And then it seems like Oliver just leaves. I forgot where he said he was going, but he says, well, I've got to get back to my own show, bye. So then Mick flies the Wave Rider, and we see Ray is stuck in the dinosaur age, and we see him with a very bad wig and a very bad fake beard. And, you know, of course, because CW wants to keep their budget on the effects, not wigs. Well, I mean, Oliver's fake beard in the future Star City, that looked good, but I think that's because they were actually doing that for story purpose. But anyways, rambling on, let's go back on the episode. So yeah, Ray is stuck in the prehistoric age, and then Nate just keeps throwing up, which of course, because it's his first time doing time traveling. So then we find out that Jax and Martin are in a medieval era in England, where it looks like this boy is a king, and he keeps getting entertained with smartphones, and until he says off with their heads, and then later on, and then everyone else shows up to save him, and then we find out that Sarah is stuck in Salem in the 1600s, and she's tries to get hung as a witch, and yet it's funny because she obviously has fucked these other girls that were also accused of being witches, and I think it's just really funny, and still an important message that we can, very progressive, that I find very important and very entertaining to watch, is that yeah, Sarah actually is a bisexual character, and it's not, and the thing that I like about it is it's not treated like it's a big deal. It's just, that's the way it is, and that doesn't define the character. So anyways, yeah, I'm just glad that we still get to see Sarah be her a bisexual character, and they keep continuing that. So anyways, next up, where were we? Yep, so everyone gets back on board on the ship, and then Martin, Mick, and the Haywood tell Einstein to... so they tell... Actually, before that happens... Shit, I'm getting off track. Rip shows up as a hologram, so he shows up as, like, I guess as a hologram, just like Jor-El. with a final message, and I don't know what exactly is going to happen with him, because I like Rip Hunter, but you know, he was never really my favorite character, but I thought he was an essential part of the show. So is Arthur Darvill not gonna be on the show anymore? Because that would suck. Because I mean, I'm gonna miss seeing him, but yet again, I wouldn't be devastated if he really is gone from the show. Because if he's gone from the show, then I mean, let's put it this way: Rip Hunter no longer being on the show, not a big deal. It wasn't as devastating as Captain Cold dying. It's not as devastating, for example, if Sarah or Ray or Firestorm were to be gone, because those three are what I call our three musketeers. And Heatwave, because, you know, those are our core characters that I don't want anything bad to happen to them, because those are who I tune in to see those four. So, but anyways, what else? Okay, so then we see them trying to change history by letting his relationship with his wife be public, with Einstein's wife. So now, we get two Einsteins, and then we find, and then there was a part that kind of made me lose my shit, which I forgot about was happening. But then we find out that Damien Dark and Reverse Flash are partners. How the fuck is Reverse Flash there? Why did he show up there? How did he meet Damien Dark? We don't know, but anyways, it's fucking awesome to see. And I heard that this is what's going to lead up to the Legion of Doom. And then we find out that the Justice Society is there. And I still can't believe that we're actually getting the Justice Society on television in live action, which is still very... my brain's still trying to process around that, because goddamn, that is exciting. So could we see Justice Society with the Legends of Tomorrow versus the Legion of Doom? Goddamn, I would love to see that, if that is indeed what will happen next episode. But anyways, goddamn guys, we're getting the Justice Society on television. How exciting is that? I'm very happy to see that, and I really like this episode a lot. I would give this an 8.5 out of 10. Very thoroughly enjoyable. So, those were my thoughts on this episode of Legends of Tomorrow. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you for my other TV reviews. So, it feels like I hear something downstairs. I don't know what it is. But anyways, alright. So yeah, so that's it. And I'll see you for next week's episode review. Bye.